Already, millions of Texans cast their ballots for both president and the U.S. Senate seat here in the state. Both are incredibly close contests. We're joined now by KXAN's Daniel Marine, who heads up our Campaign Context series. Daniel, welcome back.
Of course. Hi.
You know, we are pretty certain how one of those races is going to end up here in Texas, but the other one may be a toss-up.
Right. So let's go ahead and start with the presidential race. This is most likely going to go to former President Trump, at least here in Texas. Though it is interesting to note, though, we were talking about this earlier, these presidential races in Texas, they've been getting closer and closer over the last couple of cycles. Let's go ahead and take a look at some numbers that we have. Back in 2020, President Joe Biden was able to get 46% of the vote against Donald Trump's 52%. And that was up from what Hillary Clinton was able to get in 2016. She got 43% against Trump. And then Clinton's percentage was up from President performance back in 2012 in Texas. He got 41% against Mitt Romney's 57%. So actually Romney did better than Trump in Texas. Now, if we go back even further, Obama did a little bit better against John McCain back in 2008. But take a look at that. John Kerry in 2004 and Al Gore in 2000, they didn't even crack 40% in Texas. Of course, we should point out, though, that in 2000, the Republican nominee was George W. Bush, who was the sitting governor of Texas at the time. So Democrats have been trending upwards in Texas. And right now, Vice President Kamala Harris, she's at about 46% to 51% with Trump. That's according to the Texas Politics Project. And by the way, in case you're wondering, and if anyone's wondering at home, the last time a presidential candidate, a Democratic presidential candidate, won in Texas, that was in 1976. 48 years ago, it was Jimmy Carter.
Wow, a very interesting perspective to see those decades as they've gone by and how those margins have gone closer. I would imagine some of the state's changing demographics perhaps play into that. But I do also want to focus on that Senate race, this very contentious seat that's going to be between Ted Cruz and Colin Allred. If Democrats can somehow manage to flip that seat, that would have really big implications on what the White House can potentially do.
Absolutely. I mean, it would determine the balance of power. Well, at least it could, and it would affect the agenda of whoever wins the White House. You can't really legislate without having the majority in the Senate. And right now, Democrats, they do have the slimmest of majorities. It's 51 to 49 seats. Recent polling is showing that Senator Ted Cruz does have a slight lead over Congressman Colin Allred. But if Allred can pull off an upset and Cruz loses, well, this would be huge for Democrats. Right now, Democrats are facing a brutal Senate map, though, across the country. There are a lot of states in play. We're seeing some tightening races in states like Michigan, Ohio, and Wisconsin. So this time around, Texas does matter just a little bit more. Again, 51 to 49, Republicans would only need to flip take two seats to take control of the Senate.
Well, we're definitely seeing a little bit more attention than we usually do this close to the election, which is really fascinating. But Daniel, you're going to be back later this week with another look at how much money is being spent in this very close Senate contest.
Right, we're going to talk about some of the last-minute money that is pouring in to help Colin Allred when it comes to political ads. He's getting some help from up top, the Democratic Super PAC, giving him some money here at the end. Ted Cruz, not so fortunate. He's not really counting on help from Republican leadership. We'll dig into those dynamics.
All right, we will look forward to that. But Daniel Marine, thanks again for being here.
Of course.
We'll be back after this.